as maybe Living Single is one of my favorite shows.
Mine too. And you can still watch it today and enjoy it.
You can still watch it today and enjoy it. They was talking about real shit. It's balanced. They get into heavy topics, but at the end of the day, it's a comedy. It's a comedy, but it's not so light that it feels silly.
No, they have important topics.
Yeah. Regine she's had it with her roommates. Khadijah using her lotion. Sinclair done forgot her keys. Max has keys to the apartment. And I think she's just frustrated with her living arrangements. It's hard living with one person, let alone two people. And their spot is kind of the central hub of their friend group. They don't hang out at Mac's place. They don't hang out in Overton and Mac and Kyle's place. They always hang out at her place. I can see that being difficult to manage. And
it's realistic. You live in a house. It's technically 3 roommates, but you have Max from across the street is always over there. Kyle and Overton are always over there. So at some point you're going to get fed up. Like, it's fun to have all your friends, in close proximity. But at some point you're like, listen, I just need my space.
And also, Max is really Khadijah's friend. They're all friends. But True. Max and Khadijah are the one that's close. Max and Sinclair are cousins. Sinclair and
Khadijah
Overton,
and Sinclair.
Oh yeah, Khadijah and Sinclair are cousins. Sinclair and Overton are together at this point. So she doesn't really have anybody who is like only hers.
It was Khadijah.
Other than Khadijah. I remember when I had just started working back at the university that I taught at, and I was talking to a mentor of mine, and I was I taught comp, which means I wasn't getting paid well. And he was saying like, well, have you ever considered a roommate? You have a 2-bedroom townhouse. Have you considered having a roommate? Does that 2-bedroom townhouse have 2 full bathrooms? And I said, no, it's 1.5 bathrooms. He said, okay, never mind. You can't. He said, you need and I think
you need your own bathroom.
You need your own bathroom.
Yeah. I've had to share a bathroom.
Yeah. And
before, it's not fun.
Regine, they have 1 bathroom.
They do.
They have
1 bedroom, 1 bathroom.
In that big ass apartment, 1 bathroom.
And they all getting ready in the bathroom in the morning.
Yeah. Max be coming over there like she ain't got her own apartment, child. Like,
Sinclair writes a letter to talk show Delia, hosted by Jennifer Lewis.
Love it.
And they're doing an episode on roommates. And I want to say this part is very 90s, because remember in 90s, talk shows were it. Oprah, Jenny Jones, Ricky Lake, even Maury, before Maury got into the paternity business.
Yeah.
It was what everybody watched every day. I would come home from school, watch definitely Ricky Lake and Jenny Jones.
It was like Maury. Social media before social media.
Yes. Came. And so Sinclair submitted a request to be on this talk show about roommates, the roommate episode. Of course, Sinclair's excited. Regine is like, yes, TV, sign me up. Khadijah's a little bit reluctant. She's like, why? Mm-hmm. But then they kind of like convince her to do it. And Max, Kyle, and Overton are in the audience. The talk show is set up as roommates from hell and roommates from heaven. And so Sinclair, Khadijah, and Regine are supposed to be from heaven, talking about, how great it is that they're roommates and then they do all these wonderful things together. But during the course of the show, it comes out that Regine really wasn't Khadijah's first pick to be the roommate. We find out the brownstone is Khadijah's home. Khadijah's mom and Regine's mom are friends. That's how they became friends. So Khadijah's mom kind of convinces her to take Regine in because, according to Khadijah, Regine couldn't keep a job and was struggling. And then also that's how Sinclair got in, because Sinclair was Khadijah's cousin and Sinclair needed, a place to stay, to move to New York and get a place to stay. But the funny thing is Sinclair knew what her backstory was.
Mhm.
Like she knew her mama and auntie set that up. Regine was totally surprised that her mama and Khadijah's mama kind of set up their roommate agreement.
Which is shocking. Is this the first time that we know that this started as Khadijah's apartment?
I think so.
I don't think I remember an episode that kind of outlined or detailed whose name is on the lease, whose name was on the lease first. But
Right.
why do you think Regine really wanted to go on the show?
Regine just wants to be on TV.
That is where she fucked up from jump, because all of those shows, I think that this is like network television making fun of network television, because a lot of those episodes, the ones that you remember, they're basically exploiting those people. Even like when you think of the Maury shows now, it's like, gosh, like these people are just being embarrassed on television, and for what? You know, what are they really getting out of this?
There's a whole true crime thing about Jenny Jones.
Yes.
And how one of her episodes went wrong. So
yes, those talk show hosts would go out of their way to embarrass people. I mean, the roommates from hell, it definitely seemed like the show had their motives. You know, we're going to take the roommates from hell, we're going to make them make up, we're going to take the roommates from heaven, and we're going to leave them, you know, in pieces, you know, their friendships shattered. Sinclair, when they was getting ready in the bathroom, she was saying, everybody like touch this rose quartz and let's channel positive energy. And I was like, now see, once again, Sinclair had the answers, just like the other time we was talking about Sinclair, we was like, she ain't have no man trouble. She had her boyfriend and they was together. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's on that crystal, get your rose quartz and your amethyst and your all that waist bead down. Sinclair been talking about rose quartz. Again, as much as Sinclair like kind of works my nerves, she had the answers.
She was ahead of her time.
She was really ahead of her time. And I think we get those little gems, like when we go back and watch it and like, man, that Sinclair, she was on to something. That information about Regine's mother setting up her living arrangement, it don't just come out. Like it comes out because Regine is really up there acting a damn fool.
Oh, yes.
She gets the hint that Delia wants the drama.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, oh, let's make this dramatic for them. Do you think Khadijah was wrong for dropping that information?
She probably didn't think it through, because Regine was on there acting like she was the queen of all the roommates. I can't remember exactly what she was talking about, but she was just going off about.
Well, she said they were asked to give stories about like some fights. Khadijah said Regine is stingy with her lotion. Sinclair said Regine can kind of have a little mean streak. And Regine was like, well, you know, they're kind of jealous. The jealousy, because I'm the steady paycheck. You know, no wonder you begged me to come live with you.
Oh yeah, she thought Khadijah begged her to come live with them, and Khadijah was like, that's not how it went. Like she kind of shut her down real quick, and that's when the truth comes out that Khadijah did not really want Regine to live with her, but she was kind of coerced by her mom and Regine's mom to kind of, you know, let her move in.
So all hell break loose. They get back to that apartment, and honestly, if a fist fight break out, I wouldn't be shocked. Regina's pissed.
15 messages on the voicemail. The first is from Regine's mama confirming that Khadijah was telling the truth. So we can't say, oh, this is, you know, her version of the story versus my version. You begged me. No, you didn't beg me. No. Khadijah's telling the truth. Like, we get that established right away.
And then Ricky Lake called, child. Like, come be on this show so we can exploit you some more. What I find interesting is, because you have this theory that Tiffany and Issa from Insecure are not really friends.
No, they're not.
How do you feel about Max and Regine? Because so Kyle and Overton leave because they're afraid that it's gonna get out of hand and they don't want to be in the middle of it. So they go home. Max
Mhm.
is like, can I go make a sandwich? This is entertaining for her. Or is it? She is in no way trying to help. Not that I can really
Well,
see.
Regine is a little fed up with Max because in the beginning of the episode, Sinclair loses her key. Again, this is, she's always losing her key. And Khadijah and Regine are like, they're not in a rush to let her in the apartment. But Max opens up the door because Max has a spare key. And Regine is like, Max, why does Max have a key? Why?
Mhm.
Why? Here. She gives Max's key to Sinclair. And Max is like, that's fine, I got more. But I think you can tell Regine is like, she's already fed up with Max.
But even before this, do you think they're friends? And after,
I think they're more friendly than Issa and Tiffany. I'm trying to think of times when there was that one episode when Max and Regine kind of had their alone time when they went to that that women's conference or whatever, and they had to date themselves.
Mhm.
And that was kind of like their bonding time in a way. No, they're not the best of friends. They didn't grow up together. They're not related. They just know each other through Khadijah. But at that point, it was like, you know what? We can actually go out and have dinner together. And it's not weird.
There was an episode where Regine is doing jury duty and she
And Max
releases
helps her. Yeah.
she releases information about the case. And Max says, you need to disqualify yourself or I am going to do it for you because I am a lawyer and I can't stand for this. Like you need to do that. I feel like she wouldn't have done that to Khadijah.
You mean Max?
Yeah.
I think she would have.
Really?
I think she takes her job seriously.
I think it would have been harder for her to do it. I feel like Max and Kyle's relationship is similar to Max and Regine's relationship without the romantic.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Wasn't there an episode when Regine was like, who was it? Regine and Khadijah in a car accident and Max was like representing them in court.
Mm-hmm.
Who was it? Was it Regine?
It was Khadijah's car.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but who was she helping in court?
Khadijah, because Khadijah wanted to represent herself.
Okay. I'm just trying to think of any other situation where it was like Max and Regine one-on-one.
Later on, when Max is like running to be the alderwoman.
Oh, and Regine helps her with the party.
With the campaign. Yeah, I think they're friends. Like we do see them alone. I know that they care about each other.
And they're gonna help each other. Like either one is not gonna let the other one fall flat on their face.
Yeah. But yeah, so Max go make her sandwich. She come back. Regine's still pissed. Regine is hot. Regine is over it.
Regine moving out.
Regine said, I'm leaving. I can't forgive and forget the fact that Khadijah humiliated me.
Do you think she overreacted?
I think that she is not taking any accountability for the way she was acting. And I think that I think these 3 episodes were about pride and maturity. Because
so you think Regine is more upset that she was embarrassed on TV?
I think she was, yes. And the fact that Khadijah had been holding on to that for so long and never said anything. And what does that say?
But does she need to know that? Like, do you need to know that your mama went behind your back to, like, do you need to tell her that?
I would feel a way if everybody knew something about me and I didn't.
And you didn't know? I get it. So Regine is moving out. Khadijah doesn't believe her. Sinclair's going crazy. Max is trying to get all of Regine's leftover things.
I think Khadijah always believed her. I think Khadijah knows she fucked up. Let me not say fucked up. I think Khadijah is aware that she crossed the line with Regine, that is going to take more than just friendly banter to get it back together.
But do you think Regine moving out was just overboard? Like, did she need to move out, or did they just need to have a conversation?
I think they needed to have a conversation. That's why I feel like a lot of this episode, like I said, is about pride.
Yeah.
Had they sat down, had they just sat down and worked it out, it wouldn't have gone that way. But neither of them wanted to do that. I think both of them are just being extremely hard-headed.
True.
But I think Khadijah knew that something was different, because even at the end of the episode where she's like, she's coming back, and the lights go out, and Khadijah has this look on her face that's really defeated and really like, man, like, like I didn't want it to get to this point, you know. I think she always felt that way, but she was putting up a front for everybody because she didn't want to apologize. The question is, should she apologize?
Well, she did apologize.
Should she? Was she supposed to? Because what is she apologizing for?
Well, I guess the apology would be for embarrassing you on TV. Maybe that information didn't need to come out like that.
But you were embarrassing me on TV.
True. They both, I'm not saying Regine didn't have to apologize, but that's what Khadijah's apology should be for. And, you know, Regine could have her own apology, you know, for kind of the same thing. But Khadijah does apologize. She kind of does it like halfway at first. She's like, so Regine, what if someone would have asked you to stay, like, what would you do it?
Pride.
And Regine's like, I don't know. I mean, if maybe I've never thought about it.
Pride.
I have to be in a situation to figure it out. But then Khadijah does kind of break down and say, okay, Regine, I'm sorry. Like, you don't have to move out. And Regine is like, I'm leaving.
See, here's where I felt like Khadijah was full of shit. I think that her apology was genuine. I think she arrived at her apology in a fuckboy kind of way.
Yeah.
Like, well, what if I apologize? And, you know, it's no, like, just offer somebody the apology. Did you only offer her an apology because you wanted her to stay? Because you could offer her the apology and be like, hey, if you feel like moving out is what you need to do, then, you know, I understand that, but I just want to apologize. I still want us to be friends. You know, whether or not you live here.
Move out. Khadijah did not want her to move out. And Sinclair was really like,
oh, mama, like, Sinclair needs to be in the hospital. Happen. Sinclair going through it. The
three of us in this house. Like, no, we're not doing
about
this.
To lose her mind. Sinclair done started smoking.
This is like, it's like Khadijah and Regine are like a couple and Sinclair is a child.
Yeah.
And Sinclair was like, no. Y'all need to make up. Like, no one is leaving this house, okay? No one is moving out. We're going to make up and be a family again. So they start interviewing roommates and we get Regina King.
Listen,
as Zena.
The greatest.
Regina King been in everything.
Listen, she said, my schedule.
She's been everything. So they interview Zena as a possible third roommate, and
she's horrible. She is horrible. Talking about, I try to stay away from sugar, starch, protein, meat, dairy. Like, girl, what do you eat?
Cigarettes.
Talking about mind if I smoke. Girl, cigarettes. What type of health kick is this? You just eat cigarettes? That's it? Okay.
And then her credit was questionable because she was like, you know, when the collectors hassle you enough, you learn to pay on time. She's like, is your credit bad?
Oh no, not now. my wages are only attached. But this is old boy from the magazine friend. You should have known that. What's his name?
Russell.
This is Russell friend. You should have known that. All his people, it just ain't up to no good. And honestly, it really wasn't the credit issue because she said, like, I'm paying my bills. It was the attitude.
So Regine is getting the rest of her things. And, you know, Regine is herself and is like, oh, smooches, you know. And then Zena is like, oh, my goodness, this was y'all's roommate. I see why she's getting out of here. I could not live with that.
But even before that, when she was like, so what's, you know, what do you do? Yeah. Where are you from? I'm from the Bronx and I work. Damn, like, what did Regine do to you?
Zena was not personable.
Listen, you don't mess with people from the Bronx. You just don't. You don't.
But Khadijah was going to go with Zena until she made those comments about Regine. That kind of
see
put her up. It was like the questionable credit, okay.
Yeah.
The cigarettes, okay. But talking bad about Regine, oh no. I can't.
Yeah. The question is, do you think Regine's Louis Vuitton luggage was real?
I mean, they could have got knockoffs.
I'm sure they got knockoffs. I'm sure she did. That apartment is not that big. Why do you need to have your bags right by the door? It feels kind of performative. She wants to make this difficult for at least Khadijah. You know,
oh yeah.
Oh, I put you down as a credit reference. That makes sense, seeing as though you're on her lease, but I don't know. I feel like she got some pleasure out of, like, I'm leaving, girl. You see me? You see I'm leaving, don't you? You know what I'm saying?
She did. She wasn't going back. She made sure Khadijah overheard the conversation about, the apartment.
Oh, yes.
She would put that deposit down. Max is at a convenience store, gas station stores, corner store. A gunman comes in. Kyle, he just opens the door and basically trips over the gunman, and the gunman is disarmed. And so Max is like, Kyle, you saved my life. I owe my life to you. I'm taking you out for dinner. I'm cooking. Tell me what is your favorite dish, because I will be in this kitchen cooking it up for you.
The color blocking starts then because,
oh yes,
both of them are in like kind of grayish neutral tones. You get the sense that these two are going to be connected. It doesn't feel odd. Those two have been intimate before.
At this time is one time when they were drunk.
One time when they were drunk, and also when Kyle is doing the talent show and he's singing My Funny Valentine and Max is going crazy and they give each other this very flirtatious look. We don't know what comes of that, but there has been something brewing.
There's tension
with them. Yeah. There's always that, like, will they, won't they? I want to say, like, that's the first television show where I experienced that, like a will they, won't they. I know that there's on Cheers, I think Sam and Diane had that, but I didn't really watch Cheers until I was older.
I never watched Cheers.
Yeah, and there's on Frasier, but I didn't watch Frasier until I was older with Niles and Daphne. I'm trying to think, what Black show has there been like a will they, won't they? Urkel?
I wouldn't count that because they're kids.
Okay.
Martin with Pam and Tommy. Well,
kind of, sort of, yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
And of course, Insecure with Issa and Lawrence, like after they break up, it's like,
well, after they broke up, yeah.
Will this happen again or will it not?
Half and half, yes, because their guy friend, they never took it there, but I think people around them was always questioning, like, oh, y'all's good friends. Why aren't y'all together? And it was like, no, we're just friends. We're just friends.
So yeah, I feel like this is kind of the first show that I'm familiar with, the first show that
shows complex relationships between two people. He is reluctant to go on this dinner date with Max because he feels like he's not a hero. He disarmed the robber accidentally. Like, he had no idea what was going on. He just happened to be at the right place at the right time. But Max is like, you saved my life. Come to my apartment and get this food.
And she kisses him on the lips.
Yes.
She kisses him on the lips. Well, we're kind of like jumping back and forth. I think he's reluctant to go because deep down he knows that this is more than him accidentally saving her.
Because he and Overton have this conversation and he's kind of like, okay, I guess this is a chance to kind of see if there's anything there with Max.
Mm-hmm. We see the blossoming of a new relationship with Kyle and Max and the destruction of a long-standing one, because you get the sense that if Regine and Khadijah are not friends, Regine is the odd man out. She's not gonna be, no one. And she's also leaving the central place.
So Max is in this beautiful white dress.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle comes in dressed in all black, but his jacket has like, it's like white and black. They're matching, but kind of opposite. You still get that. Are we together? Is this yin and yang? Night and day? What's going on? They have their date. Kyle kind of plays a little bit on Max's piano. They flirt a little bit. They have dinner.
They don't really have dinner. They just kind of do a little dance and then they're off to it. Like they like they talk.
Not right away, because they're thinking about it. They're thinking about, okay, so the first time they were together, it was like we said, they were drunk. It just happened. I think Max had gotten suspended from her job and she just was in a bad place. If we're gonna start something, like it's going to end up serious. So they're going back and forth. They were saying just because we did it before doesn't mean we have to do it again.
Yeah. And what I like is it gives space to talk about like the quirkiness of intimacy. I think in Hollywood, you think, oh, these two, they just can't control themselves and woo, we just combust into this kissing scene and then we're off to the bedroom. And it's like things, like there's kind of language that is woven into those acts. It's like, hey, should we do this? Is that a good idea? Oh, it's like the clumsiness of it. I appreciated that because you don't really
you don't see that.
You don't see that
and
a
this
lot.
Is the beginning of a new potentially a new relationship.
Yeah.
So you would be hesitant. You're like, should we be together?
Right.
Like, is this a good idea? Like, I like you, you like me, but should we? Is
this what we supposed to be doing? And also is a higher power bringing us together. That could have been anybody who walked through that door and took that armed man down, but it was you. That means something.
But Kyle mentioned that, and he asked Max, he said, well, if a police officer, came through the door, would he be here at dinner? And Max was like, she was like, maybe a little bit, but not like this.
Yeah.
And then Kyle was like, oh, so this is more than just a hero's dinner then. Yeah. This is something more.
But I also get the sense that he wouldn't be there had he not done that. Had he not saved her, she wouldn't have had an excuse to invite him over.
Because they're both prideful too. Like Max isn't gonna ask Kyle out, even if she liked him, because they even mentioned, I've been curious about you, and Kyle was like, well, I've been curious about you too, but neither one was gonna properly ask the other one out on a date or to go anywhere. It was just kind of like they were just gonna sit in their curiosity, I guess, and wonder what would happen. The robbery was like a catalyst for them to finally get together, and now they're a couple. They are officially a couple, doing each other's laundry at the laundromat.
Well, she's doing his laundry. And I think it's important to note that as, third wave feminist as Max is, she cooked for him.
Oh,
she's doing his laundry. I ain't never seen her do nobody laundry now.
No.
Even though she ain't doing it, she just having Sinclair do it. But still, I ain't seen her do that. I ain't seen her ever buy nothing for no man. I've never seen this.
She really likes him. This is how you know she really likes him. So Sinclair comes to this laundromat, even though she lives far. Who was it? Max mentioned, she was like, oh, Sinclair, you're here.
Regine.
But you live, Regine, you're here, but you way over there. And Regine is like, well, you just take a couple buses, trains over to this bus. It's fine. It's like, girl.
It is not.
You miss your friends.
Yeah. Laundry? To do laundry, I could see it's like, oh, I like the movie theater over here. So I'm going to go, I got to carry these clothes.
And carry them back.
The detergent, the bleach. Girl, bye.
And don't forget nothing because you screwed. Don't forget nothing. So this episode, we have Regine's housewarming party.
A sad little housewarming party, child.
And everyone is invited except for Khadijah.
Now you invite Max before you invite Khadijah.
She's petty.
Petty. You invite Max. Y'all like, ooh, okay.
But Max is kind of standing in solidarity with Khadijah since Khadijah's not invited.
Would you have done that?
Yeah, because I think they don't want to, because they like both of them. So you don't want to see, like, have fun without Khadijah. Khadijah's supposed to be there.
How would you have handled that?
Well, see, now this goes back to your question about their relationship between Max and Regine. Max is more of Khadijah's friend, and Max isn't a roommate.
Well, if you were Sinclair, how would you handle it?
Well, Sinclair went to the party, and I can understand her going because Regine is her old roommate. And so Sinclair really cares about her. She wants to see how Regine is doing. She's not going to say no.
Kyle kind of had that's not my business. I'm gonna stay out of it, but I am gonna bring it up. Like when they arrived to the party, where's Max? Oh, she decided to stay home along with an uninvited Khadijah. Like, why you didn't invite her? You know, but then he drops it immediately. So it's not, he's not trying to scold her, but he is kind of like, no, you're wrong for that.
I think they all care for Regine, so they're not gonna just not go. I think what Kyle did was, I guess, the best thing. Like, you bring it up, you say, now, you should have, Khadijah needs to be here, but that's between y'all. But I'm still gonna support you, and I'm still gonna support Khadijah.
What did you think of Regine's apartment?
Oh, it's horrible.
It looks so dark and so dirty. Like, no matter how much she cleans it, it looked dirty. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I like the layout, kind of. Like, it didn't look like she had a full kitchen, which was
a studio.
Well, I have a studio, and I love studios. My favorite studio is Carrie's from Sex and the City. And also, it's like between that one and Nola Darling, the film.
Yeah, but hers was big. It was a lot of space in hers, too.
It seemed like a lot of vertical space.
Yeah, she had those tall ceilings.
Yes. I actually like the size of Regine's studio. I like the layout of it. It just felt like you knew she wasn't in the safest neighborhood.
Yeah.
It looked dusty. It looked like what can be done. But Kyle's doppelganger, Carl, lives in the same building. So you kind of get the sense that if he lives there, then that place can be fixed up because he probably just don't live anywhere.
Well, she said it's the East Village. From my little knowledge of New York City, the East Village is more, I think it's more like an artsy part of town. Like, it's not the hood.
How she made all them friends? Because that party was popping. So it had all of the cast doppelgangers there. So there was a woman dressed in like this jean dress who resembled Max, who had a plate of food that if she held it to her face, the heap of food would cover her face and hair. Like, that's how much food she had on that plate. So you already know, oh, that's Max's counterpart. Carl coming in now, walking with that wooden stick, being pretentious as I don't know what, that is clearly Kyle's match.
Doppelganger, yeah.
There's the
handyman.
The handyman, flannel shirt or plaid shirt, jeans, bald head. What's his name?
I can't remember.
Dang, but clearly it's like, okay, so this is Overton's counterpart, and we'll see Khadijah's and Sinclair's. Funny enough, Regine doesn't have a counterpart. She doesn't have a doppelganger. And I think that's interesting. So they're all at the party. Khadijah is at home kind of steaming because she wants to be invited.
Yes, and Max is there kind of talking her through it. And they decide to go. They decide to crash the party. And so they do. They crash the party. Max and Khadijah show up. Sinclair's a little bit upset, but she's just like, whatever. Sinclair comes through and tells Khadijah that, she met this woman named Lakeisha who owns her pet grooming business and is looking for a roommate. And
That's
so
Khadijah's
Khadijah's
counterpart.
doppelganger. And so they're kind of like having a roommate meet and greet in a way. Regine's a little bit upset. She's like, this is not what this party is for. Khadijah's like, well, I'm not a guest, so where's Lakeisha?
Right.
So, Lakeisha and Khadijah are on the fire escape, getting to know each other, talking about her potentially being the third roommate. And Sinclair is there, kind of like, okay, she seems cool. Regine is like, oh no, this is not what we're doing today.
Nope. It's not why y'all came. Y'all can't do this to me.
Out there, yeah. She's kind of like trying to sabotage this like impromptu interview in a way.
Who wants a punch?
She's saying all like the little small things that might be wrong with the apartment. It's like, well, if that's what you like, if you want a bunch of people in your business, I mean, the air bedroom isn't quite right, but okay, if that's what you want.
You notice that even though Khadijah and Lakeisha had on similar outfits, Lakeisha had on like all red. Khadijah had on all white. And who else is wearing all white?
Regine, because that's her doppelganger. That's her.
Because that's their listen. The costume department said, we gonna tell a story here with these clowns. So Regine starts crying in Khadijah's armpit. Y'all seen the show. Y'all know what done happened. Why do you think it seems like they were trying to make a case for the importance of the space, because they could have made up and had been friends, but Regine could have just stayed where she was at, and y'all visit her and she visits y'all. She didn't have to come back. So what was the purpose of her returning?
Because they have to be a unit in the brownstone. They can't be separated. They have to all be in close proximity. She was way too far. Way too far.
I hear New York is like that. Like, you live where? Oh no, we can't be friends. I can only be friends with people.
Oh yeah, they be considering that long distance relationships. You go from one borough to like, oh
yeah,
no,
they be like, oh, I live in Harlem. You live in Brooklyn.
Oh no, that's long distance.
Oh no, no. Meanwhile, you can have somebody living in Douglasville, Georgia, dating somebody living in Lithonia. Because
they make it work.
You just drive, hop on 20, keep going.
But maybe the issue in New York is because it's not they say it's not a car city, but there's so much traffic. But I guess there might be people not living in the city, but living outside of New York.
Yeah, I think that there's just some distance that's put in relationships when y'all don't live close. I mean, Max lives across the street. No, I'm saying for New York,
I'm thinking the difference is that with New York, most people are taking public transportation, and that's way more difficult than just getting in your car and driving 45 minutes. And driving back home. Because
Khadijah does have a Jeep, but she's not going to drive to Regine's apartment. Where I'm going to have to parallel park on. Where am I going to park?
Oh yeah, find parking.
Is it, so yeah. True.
So they make up. Regine is moving back in, and then we meet Lakeisha's cousin, who is
Polly.
There to console.
Of course her name is Polly or Holly, whatever her name is.
There to console Regine and Khadijah for making up, and Sinclair is pissed. Sinclair is like, who are you?
Who are you? Hush, hush, hush. Hush, hush, hush.
If anyone is going to console or bring into a consolation, it's going to be me. Get out of here, okay? And it's woo, woo, woo. So this was a nice, happy ending to this three episode story.
And notice what's so interesting about that is the fight isn't resolved until the next season. I think we take that for granted because we just watching it on Hulu, and it's just like, I can watch any episode
in real
whenever I
time.
want.
People had to wait to see what would happen.
A whole year. You had to wait until it came back on, and you better hope
that's
that it
true.
came back on.
So that was a major cliffhanger. Regine moving out.
Major cliffhanger.
Well, the only other major cliffhanger I can think about was when Martin and Gina when they broke up.
Yeah, Insecure.
Yeah, the Insecure when they broke up.
Girl, they had you stressed out in there. Like, what is going on? Please. Y'all not gonna be back friends? We gotta wait a whole season to see what's gonna happen.
I know. But of course, they